Madam, we are live.
Thank you. Okay,
Our guest is here, ma'am.
Joining. Good morning, sir. I can see you, Dr. Joseph Emmanuel.
Yes, good morning.
How are you, sir?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm also fine, sir. If you feel it's fit, can we begin the program then?
We can begin. My voice is clear?
Yes, yes, it's very much clear, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. His Excellency, the High Commissioner of India to Nigeria, Shri Abe Thakurji, being ably represented by the Deputy High Commissioner and Head of Chancery, High Commission of India, Abuja, Shri V.S.D.L. Surendra, Head of Chancery and Second Secretary, Political, Commerce and Information, Lagos, Shri Rachit Rawat, Director Academics, CBSE, Dr. Joseph Emmanuel, Honorable Members of the Board of Trustees of Indian Language School, Principals of other foreign schools, distinguished guests, parents, teachers, and dear students. A very good morning to you all. We at Indian Language School feel honored and privileged to have amongst us a very accomplished, proficient, competent academician, Dr. Joseph Emmanuel, as our guest speaker for the webinar today. He has served the Central Board of Secondary Education in diverse capacities such as secretary, a regional director, just to name a few. His pivotal role in bringing reforms in various areas, especially integration of technology with examination system, e-affiliation, training and capacity building of teachers and students, etc., is highly commendable and is a stepping stone to success. Dr. Joseph Emmanuel is a part of various committees of the Ministry of Human Resource and Development, NCERT, SCERT, AICTE, just to name a few again. He has visited several countries with high-performing education systems in the world and has been instrumental in bringing those best practices to CBSE. Under his guidance, CBSE Academic Unit has brought out more than 15 manuals and textbooks in the last 2 years. Thank you, sir, for these resources. We, as teachers, have really benefited from them. He's also the National Project Manager of the Program for International Students Assessment, known as PISA, which aims to assess the overall educational standards in the country with respect to the global standards. Sir, I want to use this opportunity to thank you for accepting this invitation and to be in conversation with us on this topic, which is very close to the heart of our students and their parents, especially in the present times. Also, a big congratulations to you and CBSE for all the progressive steps that you have taken related to teaching, learning, and assessments, and the fairness with which the board results have been declared despite the pandemic situation. Welcome to Indian Language School. Before we begin with the webinar, I would request our Deputy High Commissioner, Shri Surendra, to please say a few words.
Good morning, madam. Thank you. Honorable Dr. Joseph Emmanuel, Director Academics, CBSE, honorable members of the Board of Indian Language School, Lagos, respected Principal Madam Sonali Gupta and faculty and students of ILS Lagos, respected principals of the other 79 foreign schools joining this event, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Joseph Emmanuel, Director Academics of CBSE, who will be giving us his wise and considered views on understanding the paradigm shift in teaching and learning. The High Commission of India and the High Commissioner, who is also the Honorary Chairman of ILS Lagos, greatly appreciates the good work being done by the school and its positive effect on the Indo-Nigerian relationship. It is a laudable community initiative. The school is well established with nearly 2,000 children who are children of the vibrant Indian business and professional community in Nigeria. These children are instrumental in promoting the brand image of New India, and they are no less brand ambassadors than the High Commission of India. The school is therefore a pillar of the Indo-Nigerian relationship. The school has been achieving excellent results despite the pandemic, and they have adapted well to the challenges of the new normal of online learning. The High Commission of India strongly and wholeheartedly supports the school and requests that CBSE extends all possible support required by the school, academic or technical. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. The topic for today's webinar is Understanding the Paradigm Shift in Teaching and Learning. I will begin with a very simple question and say, what is the purpose of education? Most of you will agree with me when I say that the purpose of education is to instill or imbue knowledge in the students so as to develop their social, academic, cultural, and intellectual skills and prepare them to face the world, to teach them values, develop tolerance, communication, and life skills. But the big question is, does our content-based education prepare the students of the 21st century to be competent enough and well-equipped to face the world? Sir, Dr. Joseph Emmanuel, I would like to begin the webinar with asking you the first question to help us understand what are the differences between the content-based education system and the competency-based education.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Sonali Gupta. Before I answer this question, let me express my gratitude to the Indian High Commission as well as all the dignitaries who are listening this webinar, as well as the teachers and parents who have joined this webinar. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. And before I begin, let me greet each one of you on the occasion of Teachers' Day. The coming 5th September is Teachers' Day, and your commitment, your initiative for transforming the new generation will be remembered for. And the time has come. We need to switch from the traditional way of teaching and learning. The Indian education system goes back to the British era. In the 18th century, the formal Indian school education system has been laid by the then British government. And thereafter, after independence also, the Indian school education system has continued the same pattern in which the British government has laid its foundation. When the rest of the world has moved on to competency-based education, largely the Indian school education system continued with the traditional content-based teaching and learning. So the traditional content-based teaching and learning is also not bad in all respect, because the traditional system instills a rigor and vigor in the students. In fact, if you go to Singapore, the National Institute of Education grants admission to Indian students based on the marks obtained in the board examination. But that is not the end. The time is changing. The world is changing. Rather than moving for the rat race for gaining more marks, the time has come to focus on the competencies and skill set of children. The skills and competencies that are helping the children to achieve success in their later part of life, or the skill set and competencies that will help our children to excel in life. That is the area where need to focus on, as well as we need to invest in. While focusing on the new areas, We should not lose the goodness of the Indian system, that is the rigor and vigor, the discipline in the system. These are all very key components which are helping our students to be excellent in the in the life scenario. There are many world leaders, industrial leaders, political leaders, and bureaucratic leaders, or in all walks of life. Students from the Indian school education system is excelling. That is an example. But as a practice, in the core essential element, in the core academic areas, we need to give our focus on developing competencies rather than by hearting the contents and forgetting everything after the examination. So this is the first step we have initiated. And in the new national education policy, the new national policy of the millennium, the government has just recently released it. The new education policy of India is also focusing on developing competencies of the individual. So the skill set and abilities and talent which are helping the child to attain success in the later part of life should be given priority in the teaching learning areas. And accordingly, we need to transform our education system, the curriculum transaction, the assessment practice to a new direction.
Thank you, sir. So you were talking about some skills and you're talking about that it's high time that we need to change them. Can you throw some light upon the 21st century skills and what are the components and why it is very important in the present education system? We're talking about 21st century learners and we're trying to bring in a lot of changes in our education system and the way you said that it has to be transacted. So can you throw some light about what type of skills are needed in the present times for the students to compete with the students world over?
The 21st century skills, majorly it is critical thinking, problem solving, communication, and collaboration. These are the larger four areas in which the human beings needs to invest to be successful in the 21st century. So in the present way of content-based teaching and learning, there is very little scope for communication and collaboration. Also critical thinking and problem solving abilities. If you look at your own life, you will understand that the more you are efficient in solving the problems, the more you will be successful in life. Also, your ability to communicate with others, your ability to collaborate with others, the ability to adapt and adopt, all these skill sets are very important to be successful in life. You take the example of a home, you take the example of a small society, a small organization. Wherever conflicts are there, problem solving is a skill that will help you to come out and find solution. And also, if you are capable of communicating well with others, if you are able to give your ideas to others, that person will be successful. Above all, the digital literacy, it is also considered as one of the 21st century skill. The one who is digitally literate or digitally capable is going to be more successful and who will be more competent to tackle the problems of 21st century. So the four C's, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and the problem solving skills. These should be developed through the teaching learning process, the classroom transaction, the schooling system to be successful in the 21st century. Along with these skills, the attitudes and values, very important components to be successful in life. So more focus should be given on the attitudes and values of the child. The value you create in the individual, the value is value you imbibe in the schools or at home, that will remain forever with the child. So a very strong individual with strong values and ethics will be an asset for the family, for the society, the country, and the whole world. That should be our objective.
Thank you, sir. We had asked the parents and students to send us a couple of questions earlier. I also request the parents now to please start sending more questions, as the form is already given in the chat box. In the meanwhile, I would like to proceed with the next question. Sir, the parents are really worried about the rationalization of the syllabus and the implementation of the new alternative curriculum, which we also have started. They feel that the syllabus will not be covered completely, and it will definitely create a learning gap, especially in the senior grades, 9, 10, 11, 12. And as the students need to appear for the competitive examinations, what will happen in that case?
All of us are aware that we are passing through a very difficult time, a pandemic period. So totally unprecedented situation is there in front of us. So here, there are two choices before us. One is to survive and to be effective. And for the survival, all the precautions every one of us needs to be taken. And to be effective, we need to sharpen our skill set and capabilities and competencies within the limitations of workable solutions that is provided through the pandemic situation. So, in the given circumstances, the best way to reduce the stress level of children was to reduce the curriculum load. They are already burdened with the different challenges, different health issues. There are parents who are not able to attend work because of the pandemic. Many have lost job. At many homes, there are different types of social issues are there. So under such a circumstances, as a as an educational institution, as an educational board, CBSE has decided to reduce the burden of children for board examination. While deciding the topics to be rationalized or reduced for board examination, utmost care has been taken to reduce those topics which has less impact on the future study of the children, or the topics that can be studied by the children with less intervention or less help from the external source are identified and rationalized. There can be differences of opinion, but the idea behind rationalization is this. So when you asked about whether it will reduce the chances of the children to appear in the entrance examination, you have to look at the scenario a little differently. The entrance examinations are based on are examinations to eliminate the masses and identify the best. So if 1.5 billion or 1.5 million students are appearing in one examination, there are hardly 50,000 or 60,000 are selected for admission to prestigious engineering colleges or medical colleges. So other children are eliminated. So it is an elimination examination. Therefore, children who are aspiring for admission to those institutions should continue with your preparations with a much higher level. But average children or the lower competent, less competent children, academically competent, you cannot discriminate anybody based on the mark, but aspirations, skill set, and aptitude. If those who are not aiming for any admission to any engineering college or medical college, for them, rationalized curriculum will definitely help. Others should follow the curriculum prescribed by the National Testing Agency for the entrance examination to be successful in those examinations. Remember, it is an elimination round, so you have to equip yourself very well to be successful in those examinations. So be very, very careful and study, understand the curriculum of National Testing Agency announced for those examinations. So for the 2021 examination, the the syllabus is yet to be released. But still, every child who is aspiring for that examination, every parent carefully go through the syllabus of National Testing Agency and understand. If you feel that there is a gap, alternative ways of teaching and support mechanism should be given to your child. The teachers can also help the children by identifying the talent of the children, aptitude of the children. Necessary support can be extended. So in the today's scenario, without the support of parents and teachers, no child will be successful in clearing the entrance examinations or looking for admission to higher educational institutions of excellence. So both you should see. The CBSE's objective to reduce the curriculum is to lessen the burden by reducing the curriculum for examination. But
Yes.
curriculum is intact. Every child should be taught all the concepts to help the child to understand the purpose of the curriculum. And for examination, there is a reduction in the syllabus. So teaching and learning, complete syllabus will be there. But for examination purpose, reduce the syllabus will be there. Here the problem with our system is, if a topic is taken out for examination, we stop teaching those topic in the classroom. Here, because of the pandemic situation, again, I urge all the schools, all the teachers, all the parents who are listening me, please don't neglect any topic. Every topic should be explained and taught to the children to the extent that is required for connecting the child with a different topic and also for vertical mobility. But for the examination, we will not burden the children with the reduced, taken out syllabus or the syllabus that have been taken out for examination.
I thank you, sir. I think that gives some kind of a relief and understanding to the parents as well as the students. A student has sent this question, and I'm going to read for you. In the near future, as the board is shifting to a more competency-based learning, will it also help us to prepare for the examinations such as NEET or JEE? And will the tutoring be still required for these examinations or not?
One is learning for life. The other one is cracking of examination. Both are interconnected in the today's scenario. See why these reforms initiated by the school education system were not successful. The one important question was the total disconnect with the admission to the higher education institutions. After all, children should get a chance to move forward by getting admission to higher education institutions. So if there is no connect between the school assessment pattern or the reforms brought in the school system as well as the admission criteria, there is no point of arguing or compelling the parents to accept the changes. So here, with the implementation of the new national education policy, it is expected that gradually the pattern of entrance examinations will also change and aligned with the reforms initiated in the school sector. But today it has not happened. The discussions are going on how a very strong as well as efficient entrance examination can be designed. So the National Testing Agency, in consultation with the higher education institutions and school education department, will design a test which is best suited for the students. And the recommendation of the new national education policy clearly says that the entrance examination should be examinations to test the aptitude and skill set of children. So this is the bottom line and the underlying word. So we need to design an examination that will bring the aptitude and skill set of student for any profession. So a medical student should be should have the aptitude for that profession, and engineering students should have the aptitude and skill set required for that profession. Similarly, any other higher education avenue like law, management, uh, administrative services, wherever it is, whatever it is, or even entrepreneurship, wherever it is, according to the demand of the profession, the child should have competencies and skill set. So the entrance examination should be essentially an examination to test the skill set and aptitude of students for a particular course or a particular profession. Similarly, the school examinations should be school stake, and school examinations should test the aptitude, abilities, and skill set of children. So when we talk about 21st century skills, our examination system, our assessment strategies, everything should be designed to test those skill set and competencies. So today we are focusing on content-based examination. That is why the children learn for board examination will forget everything after the examination, because this is a learning for getting high mark in the examination. So all of a sudden we cannot change this system. So every education system has been built over a period of years. In Indian education system has been built over many decades. So all of a sudden we cannot change this system. So what CBSE is planning is, we have already started changing the pattern of designing the board examination paper. So last year, if you look at the question papers of class 10% competency based questions were included in the last year paper. So this year, that competency percentage of competency based questions will be increased to 20% in 10 and 10% in class 2. Gradually, CBSE is planning to raise those kind of questions to 60% by 2025. We are not completely changing the system, because the strength of the Indian education system, the discipline, the hard work, the rigor and vigor, that should be retained. So we will be going with a blended model of 60-40 or something of that sort uh, for the board examination. Similarly, the skill set and aptitude will not be developed overnight. You cannot test these competencies until and unless you develop those competencies in the students at the formative years. So to bridge that gap, to guide these students and teachers in the right direction, CBSE is proposing to introduce class 3, 5, and 8 examinations. These examinations will not be qualifying examinations, but these examinations will be diagnostic examination to help the teachers and students to handhold the children in the right direction. So the skill set and aptitude of the children will be mapped with the question paper, and with the help of psychometricians, a scientifically designed question papers will be administrated for these students, so that these results of examination, the result of these examinations will be a tool for the teachers and parents to identify the talents as well as nurture those talents of the children. If a child is weak in a particular area, handholding can be given by the teachers and parents. And if a child has excellent aptitude in one particular area, that can be stressed upon and supported. So help the development of the child, and identifying the right aptitude and talent of the child. These tests will play the role of a facilitating mechanism, and assessment will be used in an unthreatening environment. So here in the board examination, there is always a fear factor. So in the examination conducted at small classes, there is no pass fail is not attached to that. These exams are diagnostic tools to help the parents and teachers to help developing a child. So that kind of an unthreatening exam is also planned by the board for the for the hand holding of students.
Yeah, so actually, I am very happy to say that the assessment is going to see a transformation and a change. I want to actually say that the aptitude test would be something which would be something very positive in this direction to help the students to identify what is their forte and in which career pathway should they take the next leap. And as you are talking about the several diagnostic and the benchmark test, and a CAT4, for example, in British schools is something which is prevalent to give the students a clear-cut idea at an appropriate age which career pathway to actually take. And I think that would definitely put some end to the aspirational or the dream-driven kind of philosophy by which children tend to take career pathways depending on what their parents aspired them to be. So I think that would be something very encouraging to us. I have a very interesting question related to what you said, sir, on the board examinations. The CBSE is thinking of introducing more of competency-based questions and objective type of questions, case-based study questions, which is definitely a very good move according to an educator like me. But the apprehension of the parent is that won't the students forget to write the long answers which are needed in the board examinations?
That is
If
why
enough
I said,
preparation is not given.
yeah, that is why, ma'am, I said, we are not completely changing the pattern. So we are looking for a 60-40 pattern. We will still continue with the traditional pattern. And, the skill set and competencies should be developed in the classrooms. So formative assessment should be developed in such a way, and it should be used in such a way to promote various skill sets, including the writing skills of parents. So reading skill is one of the essential aspect. Reading, writing, all those skill sets and competencies should be nurtured through the classroom intervention. So enough opportunity should be given. It is not the board examination that will be helping the child to develop those competencies. So assessment as learning and assessment for learning should happen. So all the informal way of assessment should happen in the classroom so that the child will develop all sort of skill set and competencies, including the writing skills. So the pedagogy should help the child to acquire necessary skill sets. So that way the pedagogy should be strategized. That is the idea.
All right. Thank you, sir. I have another question which talks about the online classes, because we know that children in some parts of India and of course in other parts of the world as well, the CBSE schools I'm talking about do not have the unlimited access to internet. So the question from the parent is, how efficient are the online classes and what will be its impact on the overall performance of the child with respect to academics? And I would request you to actually elaborate something on the experiential learning that we have implemented in the CBSE schools. And I'm going to ask you another question based on the project-based learning as well a little later. But here I would want you to talk about the online classes and whether it is going to affect the learners in any way to not make them holistic learners or not make them well-rounded to be competent enough to move on to the next grade.
See here are the two questions you have raised here. Both are totally different. One is online effectiveness of the online classes, and the other one is competency-based education. The online classes, as all of us know, is become a new normal because of the pandemic situation. So this is not an alternative to the regular schooling. So the importance of the regular schools will still continue. In the society, if you recall the examples of distant learning, this is one of the relief for the economically underprivileged group. There are so many institutions like in India, IGNO, Indira Gandhi National Open University, then National Institute of Open Schooling. These are all institutions that provide distance education. So that distant education now, because of the pandemic, the schools are extending to its schools through an IT platform. So if you ask me whether it is effective or can it replace the regular schooling, my answer is no. So because this is a stopgap arrangement, this is a program to fill the gap. This cannot replace the regular schooling. Schooling is not only for getting knowledge. Schooling is for development of an individual, development as a complete human being. So this social skills, the emotional skills, the skills which we are talking about, the 21st century skills, all those skill set can be developed only through the physical presence of a child in the regular schooling. Others, exceptions are there. Homeschooling. There are many developed countries practicing homeschooling. But for the development of the child, all of them have to go for alternative ways of teaching and learning as well as pedagogical practices. So in the online classroom, effectiveness depends upon how capable the child is to receive the lessons through the digital platform. So first of all, every schools need to make an assessment of the level of the child. To what extent the child can receive online tutorials, and what is the support mechanism available at home? What are the peer support and teacher support, extended teacher support available? And what is the learning level of the child? All those things needs to be kept in mind before designing a course. And online course, it is not equally effective for all the children. There are children with different learning levels. So for every child, individualized program should be provided. So because of the number in the Indian schools, we may not be able to provide individualized learning facility for every child, but in a standardized learning environment also, the schools needs to assess the various requirements of students. So first step for implementing an online class is how receptive the child is to this new way of teaching and learning, and what is the support mechanism available for the child, and how a school can assess the learning level of the child. These three components are available. So in a system where large diversity of socioeconomic diversity is prevalent, there you cannot fully dependent on online system. There's the alternative way, giving tutorials through telephone, or even supply of printed materials to the students, small capsule printed format instead of the whole textbook, and also guiding the students to go through the textbooks and understanding the concepts. All are important. So a blended model of teaching and learning needs to be adopted in schools depending upon the circumstances through which they are going through. So a school with 100% digital facility is available. 100% children are digitally connected. For them, the learning will be much more easier. Teaching learning will be much more easier than a school with less internet connectivity. So in India, many schools are following blended model, uh, particularly government schools. In the cities, urban places, uh, many schools, private schools are having children with the digital connectivity. But excellent schools, government system, uh, excellent schools from the government system, including Kendra Vidyalayas and Navodaya Vidyalayas, where almost 30% students are not digitally connected. So there, the model adopted is conveying the lesson plans and the concepts through telephone, as well as explaining concepts manually and distributing small worksheet and books to the children through manual mechanism. So this is a special circumstance, special situation, and blended model of teaching and learning has immediately emerged as a solution to the closure of schools. So almost every school has accepted it very, very gladly, and I'm happy that all our teachers and school leaders, particularly the principals, they have, simply went ahead and implemented this online teaching and learning. It's highly commendable, highly appreciated. This shows their commitment towards the students.
Thank you so much, sir,
Secondly, yeah,
for that. And I would actually say that there's a huge support even from CBSE. I think all the teachers have been very, very, say, enthusiastic about attending the trainings that were organized by the Center of Excellence. I think, especially teachers of
yeah,
Indian Language School have been sure to attend
you are right.
every
We
single training.
also took it as an
Yes.
opportunity, by leveraging the online platform for the teachers training. The more than 3 lakh teachers have already availed this opportunity. 3 lakh teachers were undergone for, this short-term course, 2 days, 3 days course, 3 hours, 2 hours training programs through the CBSE training platform. So that is, it's a collaborative effort. So support is there from the teacher side also, school side also, from the parent side also. That is one part. So can I go to the second part of the question, the
Yes, sir,
experiential
please.
learning? Yeah.
Yes, please, please.
So, experiential learning is a component of competency-based education. This art integrated learning, sports integrated learning, project-based learning. These are all learning based on experiential learning, in other words. So all these learning strategies are aiming to develop various skill set and competencies of the child. That is competency-based education. So through competency-based education, the school system is aimed to help the child to identify his potential, his caliber, his ability and skill set, and to support the child in the best possible manner, and also to connect the concept with the real life situation. So how to connect the concept with the real life situation in a very realistic and enjoyable manner. So for that purpose, different strategies are evolved. In that strategy is experiential learning, project-based learning, art integrated learning, and sports integrated learning. All these strategies have have its own place. So experiential learning is basically nothing but connecting the concept with the real life situation. So whatever the child is learning through his experience, learning by doing. So to help the child in attaining experiential learning, project is one mechanism. There can be different other strategies also. Even the art is also a way of joyful learning. Sports is a joyful learning. So integrating various pedagogical practices through joyful activities is leading to attain various skill set and competencies. So, uh, instead of teaching a topic through a simple theory, explaining those topics through various practices and connecting those topics with a real life situation. For example, in mathematics, in the normal Indian context, a teacher teach Pythagoras theorem. So theorem is taught to the class, but we never explain what is the use of Pythagoras theorem in the real life situation, and how can a child use the concept of this theorem in the real life. This is a gap. This gap needs to be bridged. So whatever concept we teach, whatever topic we teach in the classroom should be connected to real life situation, and also child should be uh, promoted to ask more and more curious questions, so that his curiosity will be nurtured, and
Enhanced.
he can even attain mastery, and he can move forward if he is talented in a particular career path. So that is the idea of bringing experiential learning.
Thank you, sir. Actually, related with this was a question based on that a lot of projects are given by teachers these days. And do you think it's adequate to focus on the projects, especially during the lockdown times? Parents feel that it's an additional burden. I think, sir, you have already dealt with that part. If you still want to add another thing to that, we'd be happy to hear from you. But you've explained very well the importance of experiential learning and why projects are essential in the process of learning. Sir, there's a question from, I think, some of the teachers, since we have the foreign schools and the principals of foreign schools here, that some of the digital portals that have been started by CBSE, for example, Diksha, doesn't work in the foreign countries. And when will we have the access to the Diksha portal in Nigeria and other parts of the world, like
Thank you for
Uganda and Tanzania? Yeah.
there's a very practical problem. We wanted to extend Diksha facility to all the schools located abroad. But because of the cyber security issues, uh, the government is not able to find a solution to that security issue. Hacking is a big problem and it's a huge resource and reservoir of material. So, because of that security aspect, because already even in India, there are so many hackers are attacking the Diksha portal. It's a big challenge for the safety of the portal. Because of that reason, we are unable to extend this login facility in foreign countries. So it will be much more easier for the hackers to attack the portal from different foreign countries. We have schools in 25 countries, and it is very difficult to maintain the safety by the NIC. National Informatics Center is responsible for maintaining the safety of this Diksha portal. Of course, it's a different platform, but it's a collaborative effort. Due to safety, we are not able to provide the access in foreign countries. What you can do is you have to find a solution from India. You have to somebody from India can download and share information with you. That is the only immediate feasible solution which I
So
can
we can
foresee.
request any principal of any school with whom
You
we
can
are
have,
in.
see what I can suggest you is because there is hubs of learning. So
Yes.
we need to activate hubs of learning through the help of the member school in your hubs of learning. You can get these materials. So that is the only immediate solution I can suggest.
All right. Thank you, sir. Sir, for
And one more thing
Yes,
I
sir.
wanted to add regarding the project-based learning you have mentioned.
Yes.
Project-based learning. So project-based learning again is one of the very effective tool for developing 21st century skills. When the children do projects in group, lot of communication, collaboration, sharing and caring, all those skills will be developed. And always remember, please give projects which are doable for the students. The projects which are not doable for the children will not serve any purpose. It
Purpose.
will not help the children to develop their competencies. So from the early childhood onwards, from nursery to class 1 till grade 12, any project that is doable for the children should only be assigned. And make sure that these projects are done by the children themselves.
Yes.
Otherwise, the purpose will be
There's
defeated.
no learning happening.
Yes,
True.
yes.
There's no learning happening there. So I'll proceed on to the next question because I know your time is limited and you have an important meeting to attend. Sir, students are pretty apprehensive about the way they are going to be assessed, especially in the board examinations or the half-yearly examinations. And in some of the webinars that I have attended, it has been said that, the schools have flexibility for their in-house examinations to have designed a question paper the way they want to. And obviously on the set pattern given by CBSE, more emphasis on the objective type of questions, etc. But is there any possibility that next year there would be no board examinations? Well, I don't think that is one, but anyway, the question has come from one of the students. So I wanted to ask you this question. Whether we will have a board examination or will we not have a board examination next year? And when will the sample papers be available for the board examinations of next year?
Yes, yes. Definitely there will be board examination in 2021. As of now, we are not anticipating any change. Maybe by December things will back to normalcy, and we will have a normal pen and paper test in 2021 February March. That is what we are expecting as of now. So again, depending upon the pandemic situation, the decision may change. But as of now, there is no untoward change is expected. And sample question paper, most probably by mid of September, the sample question paper will be shared with all these students and teachers.
All right. Thank
When you
sir.
talk about
Yes.
designing of assessment pattern, normally the tendency is, depending upon the design of the board examination paper, there is a tendency for the school to design their internal examination paper also. So you can also create your own question papers of your design, provided the question paper design will help the child to bring out his knowledge level as well as the skill set and various aptitudes. So you are free to design your own internal question paper, but always keep it in mind that when you give an internal assessment paper, make sure that it is useful for the child to learn the concept and topic, and it should be a joyful exercise and it is not bringing any undue pressure for the child. So all those aspects uh, can be uh, uh, can be kept in mind while designing a paper. And when you design a paper, the objective should be the learning for life. It is not getting uh, marks only.
Yes,
Mark
sir.
is very important because in today's scenario, mark is helping the child to get admission to higher education institutions. That is why there is a craze for getting marks. So gradually, when the admission to the higher educational institution will change, the craze for mark will also change. By that time, the competency-based aptitude testing will take place for admission to higher education institution. You schools will be getting more and more freedom to focus on designing question papers of your choice and your design, as well as the question paper that will help the child uh, to to develop various concepts and competencies. So the assessment pattern will change as assessment as learning and assessment for learning instead of assessment of learning alone.
All right, sir. So I have a question related to the competency-based education. Looks like it's from a principal or a teacher. CBSE has dedicated the academic session 2021 for the competency-based learning, where the focus of teaching is on the outcomes that students need to acquire. What measures and activities need to be taken at the level of the school, and what is it that the students need to implement? I think, sir, a manual has come out to support the teachers on that. There was a circular based on that. I would want you to throw some more light on what is being asked.
See, the learning outcome based education, CBSE has already adopted the learning outcomes designed by the NCRT. So, after completing a particular course or classes in an academic session, the child should be able to demonstrate certain skill set and abilities to use those concepts in the real life. That is outcome-based education. So whatever the child learns in the classroom should be able to practice in the real life situation. How to measure the learning outcome? For that, CBSE has brought out teachers energized resource manual that is connecting the topics, the learning concepts, and the learning outcome. So based on the learning outcome designed by the NCRT, that is the broader outcome. While teaching and learning takes place in the classroom, teachers can measure various learning process indicators. Those indicators are given as learning objectives. So, suppose a child of class 3 has learned numbers. So, if a child has learned numbers in the smaller class, the child is expected to recognize anything that related to number in the real life situation. And also, the child should be able to use numbers to express as well as to identify various elements in life. So that kind of a connect needs to be brought in. So to begin with, CBSE has released Teacher Energized Resource Manual for class 6 to 10 in science and mathematics. And similarly, English, Hindi, and social science also similar manuals will be released. So we need to bring a lot of awareness in promoting competency-based education. For making a small change in the society, you have to make big change in the minds of the people. So first of all, acceptability in the minds of teachers and parents should be there. Then the need of competency-based education should be promoted through the teaching and learning practices followed in the classroom. So without the support of teaching community as well as the parents, we will not be able to bring this change in the classroom and in the day-to-day practices. So I request all of you to understand the nitty-gritty and see that the objectives are met. You can also measure the ability of the child. Only thing is involvement is required. Teachers, of course, should develop different levels of learning, different levels and objectives while teaching a topic, then accordingly measure the ability of the child to demonstrate those concepts and uh, topics in the real life situation. Understanding and ability to apply those concepts in the real life, both are equally important. To that direction, we need to focus our uh, teaching and learning as well as pedagogical practices.
Sir, there is a question. I think it relates to some of the subjects in which the books are not out. There are some subjects for which the books are not available. Only study material is given on the CBSE website in which the topics are explained very briefly. Will that be enough for the students to appear for an examination?
Can you indicate the name of such subjects?
I think, sir, sometime back in applied mathematics, we did not have anything.
It is, applied mathematics is a new subject introduced this year, and you will get the study materials very soon on the CBSE website.
Okay, sir.
So NCRT will come out with a textbook. Maybe the NCRT will take time. In the meantime, the study material the CBSE will provide through its website. Again, once the topic is known, the schools, it's a wonderful opportunity for the schools to follow the research-based education, research-based pedagogical practice. Teachers and students can also go through the syllabus and you can accumulate content. And based on that, a study material can be developed at your level itself instead of looking for textbook-oriented teaching and learning. So in India, basically, maybe in different part of the world also, the textbook-oriented teaching and learning is happening. So we must refocus our attention from textbook-oriented to concept-based. So these concepts can be accumulated or gathered from different resources available both on the internet as well as other resources available in the public libraries or the other textbooks related publications. Wherever you can access resources, you can gather, and that will also you can complete the syllabus. This will also help the child to develop various skill set and competencies. And also, this is one of the finest way of identifying aptitude and talent. Over to you, Sonali ji. Are you there? Mrs. Sonali?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think this is the second last question. How will CBSE be able to assess all the students of the board classes on the same scale, assuming that there's a big divide right now in the teaching and learning between haves and have-nots? So is there anything that the CBSE has decided, and how are we going to assess our students for the board examination?
Yeah, like I have explained, see, every child is important. Learning of every child is important. The children who are connected with the schools digitally, they are, of course, they are a privileged lot. And other children are also not neglected. The concept teaching should happen from the schools through connectivity, connection through connecting the students through telephone or in the manual way of classroom teaching. There are schools where mobile classrooms are operational in the remote areas, where less pandemic threat is there. Teachers are moving from one place to another and distributing study materials and resource materials to the children. So somehow all children should be connected through different medium. That is one important aspect. It's a very challenging time. So assessing children in the common parameter is a big challenge, but still we are in the process of developing some tools so that every child's learning level can be measured at equal footing. So we will be come out with a solution very soon.
That's a respite. And I think, sir, the surveys which came from CBSE a couple of days earlier would help all of you at CBSE or to, kind of streamline
That is the
information and-
that was
Yes.
the purpose of releasing that survey, to understand the level of connectivity between schools and students, and also the effectiveness of the teaching and learning taking place at different places.
And of course, the continuous learning plan talking about the lesson plans cumulatively and how
That's right.
and what strategies are used.
That
Sir,
is
one last question, and that's going to be a very simple one, though. But I would want you to emphasize on some of the very important things that are related to competency-based education. Because as you were saying, that it involves a change of the mindset of the teachers, parents, and the students. What is that advice that you would want to give our parents, teachers, and students that in present times, why it is important to understand that the online classes and experiential learning and competency-based education is the solution?
so. The primary step towards competency-based education is to accept the child as it is. You know, to establish equity for everyone. So by accepting a child, by acknowledging the skill set and abilities, he will be able to contribute a lot for his development. So to identify the potential of the child and identify the weaknesses of the child, and what are the areas where the child needs handholding and support. So that needs to be understood very clearly from the early years. Then accordingly, the teachers and parents should come together and support the child. So at present, many children are struggling to meet the ambition and aspiration of the parents. That should not happen. No, every child is special. Every child is an individual. So child's aptitude, child's competency, child's ability, his aspiration, his interest, that should be the topmost priority of the education system as well as teachers and parents. So once we recognize every child as it is, we will be beginning the process of competency-based education. Then secondly, identifying the measurable competencies through the system, the process. What are the skill set and competencies that can be assessed or nurtured or developed through the teaching learning process? So a clear focus on development of competencies and skill set from the early years will help to achieve competency based education. Then transparency. In India, it is a big challenge. When CBSE introduced continuous and comprehensive evaluation, you know, many schools have adopted many criteria other than merit in giving marks. So the maturity of the schooling system, the ethics and values of the schooling system is also equally important to attain competency-based education. There should be a realistic assessment of the child. If you give little more mark in one topic or one class, that will not help the child to be successful in life. Whereas the ability, the capability you develop in a child to face the challenges will ultimately help the child to be successful. So that kind of a thinking, you are teaching the child for life rather than for cracking the exam or for mark. That that strong feeling should go to the minds of teachers and parents. Then for attaining competency-based education, lot of support is required for the students. 360-degree analysis, analyzing and understanding the strength and weaknesses of the child, and giving remedial mechanism, and or uh, the support to develop those excellent skills in an individual. The child will be free to receive ideas from the society, and society is also free to help the child wherever support is required. That kind of uh, an ecosystem needs to be developed for competency-based education. And without the partnership of teachers and parents, competency-based education will not happen. So, keeping the interest of the child in mind, collaboration between parents and teachers, that means the community, that will help to identify, nurture, and develop skill set and talents. And according to the ability as well as skill set of the child will move on in life. So, allowing the child to progress in life according to his ability and according to his attributes and hard work. That should be the bottom line of competency based education. So, for attaining that, parental support, school support, society as a whole should support the child. So, this is a very healthy system. So, to this direction, we need to refocus our attention, and the entire teaching learning practices should be redirected, and development of the child should happen with a collaborative effort of teachers, parents, and the society.
Thank you, sir. I can see in the chat box several questions, but yes, you said that the board examinations will happen. I think it's from the principal of the DPSI Uganda. He wants to know whether the board examinations will be held next year. You have said that yes, definitely they would be. And for the in-house examinations, I can see several questions from the students of Indian language school themselves asking that the half-yearly examinations, will they happen? Yes, definitely they will. And the focus has to be on the guidelines given by CBSE. For example, it's a 70 marks paper. So objective type questions have to be about for 20 to 25 marks, and then case-based studies questions and some of the summative type of questions. And internal marking or internal assessment, in some subjects it is 20 marks, and in some cases it's about 10 marks as said by CBSE. So a lot of questions basically on assessments only. Is there any last thing that you would want to say regarding assessments that would be of benefit and would put some rest to the fears that children have related to assessments?
Children should not be afraid of assessment. Because of the pandemic, there are uncertainties, but still, as of now, no change in the structure of assessment has been planned by the board. So if it is a paper of 70 marks theory paper, then the exam will take place. As Mrs. Sonali has already told you, that the question paper design will be 20% objective questions, 10% case-based questions in case of class 12, and 20% case-based questions in class 12. Case-based questions will also be a kind of objective questions. A paragraph is given. So after reading the paragraph, the concept should be based on the concepts learned by the child in the classroom. Questions will be framed. Those questions needs to be answered. That is, assessment in an unfamiliar situation. That is what is mean through this case-based questions. Similarly, other remaining questions will be short answer, very short answer, or long answer type questions. And here, various skill set, knowledge, understanding, application, and creation. These kind of skill sets will be tested, which are already there. So you will not have any any reason to worry anything. And this examination will be based on the reduced syllabus so that your burden will be lessened. Please remember, every topic, every concept is important. If you are an aspirant for the entrance examination, make sure that you are covering the other topics also for that purpose. So don't waste your time. Plan very well for the board exam and also give attention for the entrance examination. But board examination, the purpose is reduction of syllabus, the purpose is reduce your burden. Reduction of burden doesn't mean that you don't need to understand and study it. It's only a reduction for examination. That is one thing. Then practical examination, how the practical will happen, it all depends upon the opening of the schools. But if practical examination is not happening, alternative ways will be given. Other ways of internal assessment will be developed. So all those guidelines will be given to you. Every child will be given adequate opportunity. Every child's aspiration will be kept in mind while designing the strategies of board examination 2021. No need to panic. Only thing is you continue your studies. If you are fortunate to be connected digitally, use that opportunity very well. It is also unknown that, though children are digitally connected, whether real learning is happening. That assessment, whether it's a real assessment, whether children are giving answer with the help of parents, whether they are giving answers with the help of peers, those things are all unknown. But if you are a serious child, if you are working very, very hard, there is no need to fear. There is no need to be afraid of anything. All of you will get enough opportunity as if you are attending a regular schooling. And your health aspects will also be properly taken care of. And if everything goes well, we will have board examination as usual in February, March. Study well with the rationalized syllabus. And in the new academic session, let us wish and hope that the health scenario will improve all across the world so that all of you can come to school and continue your education, whether in the school or in the higher education institution. But till then, we have to carry on with the limitations of pandemic. But still, you can hope for the best with less pressure. We try to give a joyful experience of board examination 2020.
Thank you so much, sir, for all those enlightening words. And of course, a lot of information that you have given to the parents, students, and teachers. And I think that definitely should give them some kind of a calm, and they should be more relaxed than what they were earlier, because a lot of us had so many apprehensions as to what would happen, and are we on the right track, and what should we do with the alternative curriculum. Though if you read through it carefully and you look through it, it's I think beautifully designed for the benefit of the person who's transacting it, plus the person who's on the other side, who is learning or who's being absorbing or imbuing or imbibing what is being taught to them in a different way. And the focus mainly being project-based learning, art integration, gives us, I wish I was born in this era. That's the only thing I would say. I wish I was born in this era where learning is done in a much more beautiful way and in a easygoing manner as compared with the way we learned when we were in school. Thank you for being part of this session, and we look forward to more of such sessions when we have more clarity on assessments and the breakup of it. I would like to invite you once again to talk to our parents, and especially I think for the foreign schools, though we try our best to be a part of all these sessions by CBSE and the webinars, but then yes, definitely sometimes there is a gap. And I think that gets bridged by talking to someone directly from CBSE, and that gives us the reassurance that we are on track. Thank you so much on behalf of the High Commission of India and my members of the Board of Trustees and all the principals. I believe there are about more than 15 principals who have made to the session, not only from the foreign schools, but also some of the principals from India. I thank all of them, my parents and teachers and the students across the globe who have been a part of this session. Thank you so much. And we are really obliged that you took out time for us to be with us. This morning, now it's, I think, afternoon in India, and it's yet morning for us here. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. This is also a gift of the pandemic. You know, every adversity will bring a lot of opportunities. And this is one of the opportunity all of us have invented, you know, to stay connected, to remain connected. And I congratulate Mrs. Sonali Gupta for taking this initiative of organizing this event. And I'm happy that I could interact with the parents and teachers of Indian Language School Lagos, as well as some of the principals in other part of the world. And thank you so much for listening. And thank you for the Indian High Commission for giving all support to the Indian schools located abroad. Thank you. In case of any clarification, you can write to Mrs. Sonali Gupta. She can forward those points to me. We will try to clarify all your points through me. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parents, principals and teachers, there is a feedback form. If you would want to fill it, please fill it. Those who have attended today's session will be receiving a certificate. Once you fill in the feedback form, within half an hour, you will be receiving a certificate for this webinar. Thank you so much for being a part of the session.
Thank you, Sonali.
Yes, good morning, ma'am. Good evening.
Good morning. Good evening. It was wonderful.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being there.
We talk about experiential learning. We talk about concept learning. But I don't know when and how we are ever going to move away from rote learning, because ultimately the students have to sit for the grade 12 exam, and then that's competitive. They have to think of getting admission into the university. So how are we ever going to get rid of that? However much we may talk, I really don't understand. There are no answers to that question, that how do we move away from rote learning?
Ma'am, I think it's
CBSE gives us freedom from KG to 8. That's all very good.
Yes.
And do whatever we feel like as leaders. But then what happens? 9 to 12, when the students are in high school, we are helpless and we are bound by the rules of CBSE.
CBSE, true.
Where is concept learning? It's all about securing marks in the end.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
I think, ma'am, with the new education policy coming in, and as I was, yes, the way they are saying how the transition is going to happen from school to higher education institutions, I think this is not going to take less than 4 to 5 years. And during this time, yes, it would be difficult, and step by step, as we see, CBSE would incorporate things stepwise, and eventually we will move to that system. But till then,
I'm happy with this decision of the assessment exam on the lines of NAPLAN in Australia. They are doing this 3, 5, and 7. And that's a good step, but again, let's see how effective it is, because let's not forget, India is a huge, huge, huge country.
Yes.
And we don't just live in cities. We live,
yes,
I mean, CBSE, the government has to cater to everyone possible.
Yes,
in the
schools in the villages, definitely.
And,
yes.
So we cannot just talk about the urban areas. Anyway,
yes.
all very good. But
we all
know that. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being there, and we look forward to seeing you every time. And having a talk and session with you is very stimulating, because You are always one that you are always encouraging us, and you give us so many new ideas to proceed further. The way the education system runs in the developed countries actually helps us to understand that where do we stand and what is it that we can improve. So thank you for being a part of this session and always being by our side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, Mr. Rajnan. Good morning, maybe.
Yes, it's good morning. Good morning, sir. Sir, can you please unmute yourself?
Good morning, everyone. All the teachers who are here, who are present here, parents.
Morning, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. And are the students there too?
Ma'am, the students and parents mainly were part of the YouTube because we didn't want to have issues like we had the other day. So principals of different schools were invited to be a part of the Zoom. High Commission, trustees, and the teachers of Indian Language School and any other distinguished guest was also part of the Zoom meeting. So
Yeah, good, good. Okay.
that's what we did.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. Good night to you too.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Only.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm all right. Wonderful organization. You have done it. It's for benefit for everyone. A lot of doubts are cleared. The parents had doubts and how will be the assessment? How will they move forward? But the biggest problem is, as Mrs. Kanwar said, what will happen about the assessment in 9, 10, 11, 12, and how would they compete the meet and those competitive exams, and how will they go about? That's a big question mark. But let's move on. As a new pandemic, we'll get over it.
Yes.
Thank you once again, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you, High Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.